He is a proud Florida Gator grad. So if you ever ask him where the U is, he says the only one is in Utah. It is Shawn Kopelakis, sports and entertainment producer, writer, executive, freelancer extraordinaire, seen on Fox and NFL Network. The list goes on. This is his time to tell his story on how he got to where he is today. I'm Bryan Fenley, an anchor at Fox Sports Radio. And Shawn, let's start here. What's a moment in your life that you're most proud of and how you've handled a difficult challenge at work?
Yeah, Bryan. First, real quick, let's go back to the U because as the guy that I work with quite a lot at NFL Network, Steve Smith would say, yes, the real U is in Utah, not down in South Florida. So, yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, right off the bat, man. Adversity is always going to strike, right? I mean, it's part of life. It's certainly part of this business. Things are not going to go as scripted. You can have the best show format set up and ready to go, and you're going to have from minor issues like technology failing and satellite signals going down and things like that to major breaking news that changes the course of history. Those kind of things happen, but looking back. Fun story to look at for me is right when I went on my own as a freelancer. I'd left Fox Sports West. I'd been with them. I'd been with Fox Sports for 16 years and with Fox Sports West for 15 years, and went out on my own as a freelancer. And the first kind of a big job that I was able to book was covering a boxing match in Las Vegas. And I'd covered a few boxing matches with Fox. Staples Center back in the day used to host some fights. Oscar De La Hoya, of course, being the hometown LA guy, fought there quite a bit. But so I went to Vegas and was booked to do a behind the scenes of Fight Week. Manny Pacquiao was fighting. This was back in November of 2016. Fernando Vargas versus Manny Pacquiao, and behind the scenes of the entire week, and it was a grind, man. And again, it was my first gig out on my own, so there's a lot of pressure, obviously, in that regard, where you want to, this is your name, now it's not, I don't work for Fox anymore. I work for myself. And so you have to deliver. And it was basically shoot all day, write the script for the piece that evening, and then edit all night. And I had a team of guys. Scott Thiel was my primary editor, and he just, crushed it. But the entire week going through that process, and this is also, first week of November in 2016. Okay. So go back in your memory. That is election week. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton election. It's also the World Series is going on with the Cubs and the Indians, right? All of the world with their eyes on the Chicago Cubs, and we're in Las Vegas, of course, where sports books and people are just going crazy. But we've got to try to block all of this out, everything else that is going on, and just be in our silo, focused on shooting every day and then editing all night. And it was such a grind and such a grueling project, but so fun, so rewarding. I thought the pieces that we did were phenomenal. The client, Top Rank Boxing, was very happy with them. We delivered the entire week, and Saturday rolled around, fight day rolled around, and we felt like we really told the story of both of these fighters, how they got there, and how prepared they were for this big fight in their career. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Shawn Kopelakis is with us, producer extraordinaire. I'm Bryan Fenley. And on the topic of the grind, I want to ask you about this, because I wonder what kind of tunnel vision you had to have in this situation. You go 5 months with NFL Network this last year, 21 games, 16 cities. I also read 45 negative COVID-19 tests. You pulled this off. How?
First, great support from my bosses at NFL Network. Never put me in situations where I felt like I was, more at risk than. Of course, everybody's been at risk for the last year, right? Obviously, but great support from them. Number one. Number two, the NFL and the way that they conducted things. Testing and social distancing and masking. And then, you just have to take personal responsibility. You don't want to be the guy that gets sick, number one, because it's scary. You don't want your friend's family to get sick, but you don't want to be somebody who maybe infects other people on the crew and takes it all down. Right. Yeah. So just be smart, be safe. We double mask. We avoided crowds. It was, takeout and room service the entire year.
Wow.
Normally, part of the great thing about the job is traveling and seeing cities and getting together with people, and that was completely gone. And it was, get there, do the job, and protect yourselves and protect your crew. And you just had to be smart and safe about it.
What was your go-to room service meal?
I try to even though I couldn't necessarily, take in the sights and all that, you try to personalize it when you go to cities, right? Whatever. When I was in Kansas City, I was getting takeout from Q's or Jack Stack, right? Doing the barbecue up. Same thing in Charlotte. Great barbecue scene there, right? Nashville, you got to get hot chicken. So even though you're stuck in your room, you still want to take in that city flavor, right?
Yeah, no question. And then, speaking of traveling and doing a lot of it in a short amount of time, I was also reading that when one year you covered the NFL training camp, I think you drove like over 500 miles. You took all these flights. You stayed in all these hotels. You rented 3 different Kia Soul cars. How did you do that as far as pulling all of that off and doing it in such a short amount of time?
That's the fun part of the job when you're grinding like that, man. I mean, getting to training camp is awesome. We didn't get to experience it last year, really. With COVID, hopefully things are going to be pretty close back to normal this year. But NFL Network covers training camp like nobody else, and the shows that they do every single day, where they're hitting 2 or 3 camps, and then the next day 2 or 3 different teams, and then the next day 2 or 3 more different teams, and to be a part of that is thrilling. You mentioned the Kia Soul. That's my go-to rental car, man. I don't know why. They handle really well. They're fun to drive. They're tiny, but they get the job done. They've got a little kick to them too. Early call times, you're on the air, and as soon as you're done, it's either driving to the next city or driving to the airport and flying to the next city. But that stuff's cool, man. I'm so lucky and blessed to get to do stuff like that.
Why do you feel like you're so lucky and blessed? Why do you love what you do so much, especially the grind and embracing that?
Yeah, it's I always wanted to do. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to be involved in sports somehow, right? I went to school originally thinking I was going to be a reporter, a print journalist. I majored in journalism, and then kind of I worked at the school radio station. I wrote for the school paper. And then I got some experience working in the sports information department at Florida, one of the best sports information departments in the country. And so then seeing it from the PR side, right, the team support side. So I was open to kind of anything and everything, in that world. And to have now lived it for 20 years. I mean, are you kidding me? Like if it all goes away tomorrow, it will be the greatest, I'll be so thankful and blessed for everything that I've been able to see and do, all the great people that I've been able to work with. So, you just try to keep that perspective, right? To know that you're very lucky. getting to do the things that you get to do, so that even when it's a grind, even when it's, really long days with 5 a.m. call times, even when it's, middle seats and 3 hour flights, right? Whatever, those things are just insignificant compared to getting to do what you love, getting to cover games. Life is hard, and there's a lot of crazy things out there, but to have your job be involved in sports and the games that you've grown up loving and watching, and there's nothing better than that, man. Nothing.
Yeah, no question. And when you come home, it's nice to have such a supporting family as you do, no matter where you've been. How has your wife, along this journey of yours in your pursuit of your passions, been so supportive? Where would you be without her?
Number one, I probably never would have even started down this road. I met my wife in Florida. I was living in Florida. I was working for Disney's Wide World of Sports complex in Orlando. And that was my very first job out of college. And I met her. She lived in California. She came to Florida for a family wedding, and we stayed in touch. And we'd kind of hit it off a little bit, and so I decided, well, I'm going to go visit her. I'd never been to California before. I'd never lived anywhere outside of the state of Florida, and so I come out to visit her, and I was happy, in Florida and at Disney, but I knew that I wanted to do more. And so when I flew out to hang out with her for a few days, I set up some job interviews out here, just saying, and why not? I'm out there, talk to people, meet people. Anything is a valuable experience, right? Whether or not you get the job, whether or not, anything comes of it. So one of those interviews was with Fox Sports. Flew out here, interviewed with them. They offered me the job right on the spot. Went back to her apartment and said, I think I'm going to move to California.
Wow.
Do you need a roommate? So that, I'm not sure I'd be anywhere without her. So she's super supportive. Being on the road, leaving her and my son's home, couldn't do it without her support.
What was your initial response when you told her that you had gotten this job? You would first come out because of the chance to visit her, and then she's like, I guess you're not leaving.
Thankfully, she was happy, right? Could have been a lot worse.
So you were there, and then how have you seen your career from that initial opportunity blossom and grow since then?
It's a cliche, right? But get your foot in the door any way you can, right? So that was a PA job, the lowest rung on the ladder, right? And you take those opportunities, and you never, and then once you're in, you never say no to anything. Yeah. You need me to work overnights. You need me to, that.
Yeah, sure.
You need me to log tape. You need me to call for footage. You need me to book feeds. You need me to sweep, the kitchen and clean up the break room. Yes, I can do it. I will do it. So that's just always been my philosophy. That's what I've told, as I grew and progressed, and then had PAs who worked for me or interns who came in, and that'd be the biggest piece of advice I'd ever give anybody, is just never say no. There is nothing, too small. There is no opportunity that should not be explored and taken. Whether you see yourself as the next, the next sideline reporter for Monday Night Football, but you're a PA starting out, don't ever say no to anything. Learn how to do as many jobs as you possibly can, because when you do then become that Monday Night Football sideline reporter, you will have such an appreciation and understanding for all those who work around you. Yes. It will make you better in your role, and it will make them, the rest of your crew, appreciate you even more and work so much harder for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so taking it from there, what are the qualities of a producer that you feel define you? Like if there's a couple tenets, a couple pillars that when you go about a production, that these are ones in which you always will revert to and stick to. What are those?
Yeah. Meticulous planning. I like to be prepared to the fullest possible extent. So I want to know anything and everything that could possibly go on, and have a plan for it. Right. Strong communication, then to have that plan and then be able to communicate it to your talent and to your crew is goes such a long way. And you'd be so surprised, how much we struggle with that sometimes in the industry, just not being clear. And so I try to take pride in that. And then, for me personally, it works for me to be very calm. I don't get loud. There's some producers who work that way, and that's their style. But I try to stay unflappable, so that if we're 2 minutes to air and we're having some back channel issues, my talent never knows that, right? They're preparing for what they need to do. We'll take care of this on the back end. My voice, when I'm talking to them, isn't going to communicate any of that. It's going to be that we're 2 minutes there. That's it. We lost our live view signal, TVU signal. They don't need to know that. Just 90 seconds. We'll get it up. We'll be all right. And trust your crew. Empower the people that you work with. Again, I say this all the time. I'm not deflecting. I've just been so lucky to work with so many amazingly talented people across the industry, across the country. I trust them. I trust them 100%. I don't like to micromanage. I like to empower and trust the people that I work with, whether I hired them and helped, grow and develop them in their career, or whether I'm meeting them for the first time and somebody else has hired them. Well, I trust my colleague who hired them because he's really good at his job. She's really good at her job. And I know that she hired this person to do their job. And that means they're really good, right?
Shawn Kopelakis is with us. I love it. You're poised and composed under pressure, and you stay calm, and you realize, and you brought up a great point. If you show your appreciation for your coworkers, they're going to give that right back to you and more. And the product that is on television is going to be that much better. Final question for you, Shawn. I'm Bryan Fenley. I started up this interview by bringing up how the only you is in Utah, and that you've worked a lot with Steve Smith and had the opportunity to do projects with him. You were with him when he went back to Utah for his Hall of Fame induction. And so I would love to hear what that was like for you, taking in this grand achievement for somebody that you work with, that means a lot to you.
Yeah, so that was actually the first time I'd ever met Steve, and I had not worked with him yet at NFL Network. That was, pretty early in my career with them. And so, number one, it was intimidating as heck because an intimidating guy, somebody I'd looked up to and admired his career and the ferocity with which he played, and work with a lot of superstars and Hall of Famers and people of that nature, but you're still a little nervous maybe the first time that you're meeting them or working with them, understanding that they're people too and they're professionals and all that, but he was kind and gracious enough to allow us to document this day with his family, beautiful family that he has, and it was it's really a cool experience to see how beloved and how much these former athletes mean to their community, to their hometowns, or to their, adopted hometowns like Steve there in Salt Lake City. And, when you get to work with great people, that are great inside, that's special. And then to see how other people receive them is very cool. I love to be fly on the wall type, and document that type of stuff. And that's all we tried to do that day, was just stay as unobtrusive as possible, and let him and his family really experience this special moment of going back and having your jersey retired at your alma mater. It just a cool experience. That kind of stuff is so fun.
Heartwarming, rewarding. I can't wait for the day that Florida retires your jersey for all the work you do in the business. Shawn Kopelakis, he is on Twitter at Shawn_Kopelakis, producer, executive, writer, freelance, NFL media. The list goes on. I'm Bryan Fenley, an anchor at Fox Sports Radio. Shawn, thanks so much for giving us a look-see into your career and your life and how you've become what you are today.
Thanks, Bryan. Appreciate it.